What's going on, YouTube? Cold Cover is back with a brand new video today. So I can tell by the title, man. Hey, man, we got a special video today. We're going to be reacting to what makes an album cover legendary Class 1 uh, Creatober by Only Dope Media. Shout out to Only Dope Media. I've been watching her videos for a pretty long time now, and she has great advice on graphic designs and actually helped me with my career in graphic design and making art. And speaking of which, y'all, I know it's been a little minute since I made a video, but I'm back. I've been working and I've been trying to get out of this art. I'm in an art block right now, y'all. I can't even lie to you. I'm in an art block. And art blocks really, I'm going to save it for a separate video about art blocks and how to get out of them, because I was in an art block many times before, but this one is different, dog. I don't know. I'm in a different type of art block. Like I think my art block is more so, um, it's more so me, man. Like I'm gonna keep it a being. Like I don't know. I think I'm in my head too much, and that's something that can happen in art, and that's very real. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below, join the crew. Ooh. And without further ado, let's get into it. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what she has to say. So without further ado, let's get into it. And I have more videos on the way coming out on this channel. I think for the meantime, like I'ma just, because I am in an art block, right? I think I have to switch my medium up to other forms of art. So I've been doing photography and drawing, and I might do more YouTube videos as well to help me get out of that art block, because dog, it is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it sucks when you're in the art block too, because it's like you're passionate about art. If you're passionate about art like I am, like when you're not making art, it's like dang, like what else is there to do? You know what I'm saying? And then you kind of like force art out of you, that it just leads to unhealthy cycles, and then you'll try to do clients and stuff, and what'll happen is the clients will, it is bad, bro. It's a bad cycle. But that's a topic for a different day. If you guys want me to get in depth into that, just let me know. I'm getting a whole bunch of messages, as y'all can hear. But this is a 42-minute video, so let's get started. Check it out, check it out. Look. Before we get into this video, y'all, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below, join the crew. But that's not the point of this advertisement right here. Today, I'll be promoting my new shop on Gumroad. Make sure you guys check it out. I got some pre-made cover arts on there. I got some PSD files that I'll be uploading on there very soon. So make sure you guys check that out. Link will be in the description down below. And without further ado, let's get back into the video, man.
It's an essential part of an artist's brand and can significantly impact the audience's perception. Great artwork can capture attention and convey the mood and the genre of the music. For example, what do you feel when you see this album cover?
Okay. So, yes, everything she's saying is very accurate. Um, I'm not gonna act like, see, I don't want to come on this video and act like I know more than her, because, bro, she probably has way more experience than me. I'm just coming on this video and I'm just giving insight to what is already probably known. So you're probably like, what's the point of you making this video? But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I just decided to react to this. I wanted to hear what she had to say, and I wanted to just put my input on it. That was it. And so yeah, but like she was saying, this is the first thing that artists look at, so it's the most important thing to try and stand out with. To try and stand out with. So Kanye West graduation, like this is cemented, right? And actually forgot the artist who made this. It was the same guy that made the Murakami flower art piece. The name is not coming off the tongue, but I'm pretty sure if we type in, you know what, we're not going to do all that because this is a 42-minute video. But anyways, we're just going to let her talk.
How about this one? Lastly, how do you feel about this one? Now, what even makes a cover art good? That it can catch a potential listener's eye, even in a crowded market. Let's talk about a couple of covers that were influential during the time that the album came out that you can still resonate with today. All right, for Young Thug's Jeffrey, for example, when he popped out with that dress,
James is a man in love, but he's a man who's been burned.
Everybody was talking about it, and it drew even more attention to the album that he was dropping. He went for the attention-seeking route on this album cover. But not only is it a great piece of fashion, an art piece, if you would like to say, the album cover is very minimal. It has minimal colors and minimal design. It's based mostly using the photography. And that photography, he's not even showing his face. It's mostly just bringing attention to him wearing this quote-unquote dress that pushes the lines between masculinity and what's masculine and what's not. But definitely a legendary album cover of its time. Even in Travis Scott's Astroworld. Now, this album cover not only caught attention, but created a whole different world that the artist and his audience can live in. Just by having this album cover, which was partly photography, partly photo manipulation, comes the theme of it being an actual world, which is Astroworld. And he turned this and flipped it into concerts and experiences and even pop-up shops, all based on this. He even had an actual blow-up head that he ended up making based on this album cover. And I think this album cover is just amazing in a sense. It just brings that nostalgic feeling of going to those carnivals and those amusement parks as a kid. Since this album was a heavy rage, heavy concert album, he wanted you to have a time.
Wait, is that actually a blow up? Oh wow.
Not only when you were listening to it, when you went to the actual facilities. So here is a picture of them taking the actual album cover and it being replicated in real life. That's just another way that you can go about it. And another thing that you think about when you're making these album covers, how is this gonna elevate and even bring more of the music to life? I love the Astroworld cover. Speaking on worlds and themes and presence, for Tyler, the Creator's Igor album, it was just a pink background with a black and white image, but he had a whole aesthetic that went along with this album and its cover, from the down to the hair, to the glasses and everything. It was a theme for it. And that's just another idea of like a creative genius. How do you take what you make on paper and bring it to life? So it's not only just a cover, but it's a visual representation of the audio experience. I just want to drive that home. Now, with the Igor album, it was very cut and paste, mostly just his face, just focus on his face with a strong pink background. And even had a logo made for the album, which is the IGOR logo that he could have flipped and put on t-shirts and things like that. So being able to be brandable with the actual cover itself. Don't just make a cover to make a cover. So you always want to think deeper. How can this help the artist make money with merch? Or how can this make the artist represent whatever it's supposed to represent, whatever the artist is or the genre of music that you're doing? How is this cover gonna make them a bigger or larger than life figure? Let's just step out of hip hop for a second. Let's talk about the Iron Maiden Killers cover. Now, if you know about Iron Maiden, you've probably seen it in Target, Walmart, PacSun, Hot Topic. The branding for the whole Iron Maiden's cover scheme speaks to the whole band itself. I can't even, if an Iron Maiden band member was walking down the street right now, I probably wouldn't know who that is. But if that band member is wearing this mask with an Iron Maiden shirt, I'd obviously think that they were part of the group in some way, shape, or form. Now, if the artist is one of those dark, mysterious artists and they don't necessarily want their face or all of their looks out there, because sometimes they're not the best looking artists, but they have a lot of talent. And some people like Daft Punk like to keep their identity low key so they can still continue to be, you know, normal human beings. They don't necessarily have to be famous. So some people like that. Keep that in mind, because some artists is just going to be very troublesome for them to partake in the actual creation of the cover art. Now, back to the Iron Maiden Killers cover. This character And that font is the whole branding for the Iron Maiden band in itself. It's one of the top 50 covers ever. From the aesthetic of the cover to the logo mark, they can put that on t-shirts.
See, this is how detailed cover art is, man. This is how much goes into it. And she's saying stuff that I didn't actually know myself, but this is how deep it goes into, man. So like, this is everything I'm talking about. Very detailed. You have to think ahead a lot. This is stuff I haven't even thought about, but hearing her speak about it and realizing that, okay, maybe I do need to think more of in the image of the artist, right? How this could represent them, how this can essentially bring more attention to them. And now we're talking about iconic status, right? We just looked at those past cover arts. Those covers are cemented in our brains forever. We'll always know just by looking at the Kanye West album cover that is Graduation. We'll always know the album cover where Young Thug wore the dress. These are cemented in our heads because these are moments of time. When you're a cover artist, you're basically creating a moment in time, right?
And flip that to movies. They could have probably made a little short animated series based on just the logo doing stuff, and they could have used that character and made an animated series, or lyric videos or animated videos or visualizers to their songs if it was more relevant today. Probably not back then, but like now, if they wanted to even flip that content, they can use that and make animated series based on their songs and stuff like that. You got to be thinking like that. How do you take one piece and be able to flip it to 100 different other pieces of content or other ways to use it? I'll do one last one because I like to do different eras. So even T.I.'s Paper Trail album, if you were a kid during when did this album come out? Like 2008, 2007, something like that. But yeah, 2008, let's just go with that. 2008, this time T.I. was still coming off a blazing hot little run that he had, and he had to go to jail for a certain amount of time for whatever reason. But he went to jail, and then I feel like this album spoke to a Paper Trail. This is a song where he had Justin Timberlake. So it's like it's a collage of different papers shaping the face of T.I. And it's all of, the documents from when he went to jail. He's been in and out of jail. People been suing him and stuff like that. This was him trying to change his ways, going into a new chapter of his life. So I feel this album cover spoke highly to his new chapter in life. I felt having a paper trail is fire. How else were you going to use paper? And I don't know if they did this digitally and created collage, but what would have been even more dope if this was an actual paper collage that they made. If it was a like 30 foot by 30 foot paper collage and it was like an art piece somewhere, and they probably would have took a picture of it. And then you could have took that art piece from place to place and traveled and created a museum around that piece. I mean, if you didn't have that much time and you just need to do it, digital is cool, but you got to think outside the box. Like, I can collaborate with a painter, or I can collaborate with a mixed media artist and create my vision, but I have the creative direction type thing. So just think about that. Now that we understand the role of cover art, let's dive into the essential principles of design.
What I was going to say is it's important to practice different. Bro, I just took pictures for an artist that I'm currently making a cover art for, right? And I know I said I've been in an art block and all that, and but I already took the picture, and it's kind of like a thing where it won't need as much Photoshop. It's more so me just going in there and maybe blurring a couple of things, but practice other mediums. Practice painting, practice drawing, practice graphic design, practice photography, practice different mediums, y'all. I'm telling you, bro, because it work. They all intertwine in each other in some way, shape, or form, and you're able to not only express yourself better. And I'm not saying monetize. You don't have to monetize these other things. Like photography, I do make money here and there off of photography. But it's not my main thing. My main thing is graphics. Like that's what I do. Photography, if I make a couple dollars off of that, that's cool. Because photography is very lucrative. Oh my goodness. But drawing and painting, bro, just have different ways to express yourself.
Will guide your creative decisions and help you create visually appealing and effective cover art that's actually good. I don't want to get into it too deep, but let's talk a little bit about color theory and how colors evoke emotions and set the mood for your design. Here's a quick overview, but we're going to go into it in depth in a later section, okay? Let's talk about warm colors. When we talk warm colors, we're talking the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and how they evoke a feeling of warmth, excitement, and energy, okay? We've all heard the Drake Take Care album. If you haven't, I don't know, yeah, you should go listen to that, all right? But anyways, this whole color scheme for the album was browns, blacks, beiges, all those type of like really earth tony colors. And it was definitely rapidy rap, deep synth type of album. This is one of a classic albums from Drake. I think it's his best album actually, but I feel this album just speaks to it. When you see this album cover from anywhere, you'll just know, oh, Take Care. Even if he didn't have Take Care in the corner right there, people would have known this is from the Take Care album. And it's very, very simple. It's just him sitting alone at a table, probably reflecting on all his success up until this point, with some simple paintings in the background. And this is just a photo. So they kind of went the photo route. But we mostly want to talk about how the colors are evoking the emotion. And when you listen to the album, it's a lot of him singing. It's not really too much hype music. A lot of the songs are very slow, melodic, nighttime type of vibe. That's kind of why I like Drake's Take Care for a nice warm album. If we go to Funkadelic's Maggot Brain. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've not heard not one song off this album. I probably have, and it's one of them albums that you just never hear anything about. But based on what it looks like, it hits on all the points. It's warm, it looks exciting, and it's bringing energy. Even though it's a warm, darker type of album, the emotion on her face gives me energy, excitement. It looks like she doesn't look like she's in pain. It looks like she's having fun. I don't know what led her up to getting buried alive, but like the head and the dirt with it saying Maggot Brain just makes me want to click on the album just to give it a listen. I'll probably listen to it after this just to dial in and get a little bit more idea of what the music is that was behind this album. But
that's the whole thing, that it's just to get people to click. It's just to get people intrigued. It's just to get people to buy into what you're trying to sell, man. It's just like any other business, just like any other business model. You have to get consumers to buy into what you're trying to sell, right? So the best way to do that is to have something that's visually appealing. Why do you think McDonald's they invest in ads on television that look crazy? You know what I'm saying? McDonald's burger look 20 times better on TV than they do in real life, right? And that's because they realize that visuals are so important, because that's what draws people in. That's how you get consumers. So when you have a cover art, that's why cover art is so important, because you have to draw people in, right? It's the first thing they're looking at, right? If nobody ever heard your music, nobody knows anything about you, they never heard your music, anything, but they look at your cover art and they're like, dang, this joint look fire. I wonder what this song is about. Boom, you got them. And then what happens is a snowball effect happens, because people start to talk. Word starts to spread. Your music starts to get out there. And then they're like, dang, that's a fire cover too, man. And the music is crazy.
Famous album cover. A lot of people have tried to recreate this in some way, shape, or form. So for our last of the warmth colors, we're going to go with Lauryn Hill's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Now, this one is literally so fire because it speaks to school times, right? They got the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is education. So it's obviously a school type of setting. And then with the album cover, it brings us to a desk. And that's kind of where you be sitting to get educated on a person or anything in general. So you're at the desk. But what do people do when they do a desk when they're paying attention, but they're not really paying attention? They sketch and etch on things, right? So you have the sketched out Lauren, which is still her face, but it's not a picture of her. You know what I'm saying? It's a etching. And it just etched in the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and then you just have a simple pencil up top. I think this is one of the most famous album covers. When you see this, you just know, even if it didn't have the miseducation of Lauryn Hill at the top, it was just that etching and her sitting at that desk. You would still know. But the album is warm. It's a nice R&B album. It does have some excitement in the album, and the album does bring a lot of energy. It's not a so soft album where it's like too many singy songs, like Killing Me Slowly or nothing like that. But it's like back in the school, beating on the desk, beatbox type vibe, like boo 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 doo-wop, those type of songs. It gets you excited in that type of way. Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, nice warm R&B album, great cover. So let's talk about cool colors. Cool colors are the blues, the greens, and the purples. They often create a sense of like calming, serenity, and professionalism. The first album for me gotta go with, it's in the title. It's called Purple Haze.
Grammarly helps me get the best grades possible while depleting the least amount of hours of my
Haze. Now this album has a lot of hits. First of all, classic hip hop. This is gonna be a history lesson too, y'all. Listen to the Cam'ron Purple Haze album. Like the skits was.
I can't even lie, y'all. I never listened to this, but I'll probably listen to this tomorrow. Now she told me to listen to this. I'll probably listen to this tomorrow. I actually like Cam'ron too. I'll probably listen to this, John.
The whole from top to bottom, and it just probably that was the top weed I think at the time that people were smoking was Purple Hazes. So why not create an album around that? And Cam'ron is a artist that always picks colors to kind of represent him. If you know him, he's known for the pink furs, the pink Range Rovers. He got a brand called Pink Horsepower. So colors definitely play a strong part into your branding. So when you see Purple Haze or think Purple Haze, you automatically think the Purple album. And for me, this picture obviously is a photo manipulation. He was probably in a studio, took the picture, and then they went and photo manipulated the street curb and the skyline. And then they made everything purple. He wore purple, everything's purple. This album was definitely a calm and serene type of album. It's a lot of like melodic music, once again, smokers music, chill, relax, and Spark One type of music, like Spark One and relax. So I feel that colors represented the album in its totality.
That's the kind of music I like too, yeah. I like the chill, Spark One. I don't smoke. I mean, I smoke cigars, but that's only occasionally. But that's the type of music I like though. Like I like the calm stuff. I like where rappers can really talk. I like a nice beat. And the rapper, he's just talking over that, John. He just rapping, You can feel his pain. You can feel. I just like that type of music, y'all. So I actually never listened to this album. I might not. Now I'm intrigued. See, look, that's the power of cover art. Oh my gosh, that's the power of it right there. Yeah, she kind of intrigued me with it. She kind of sold it to me a little bit. If I were to look at this just off the strength, I probably wouldn't listen to it because it's so many visually more appealing things out there now. So I would probably just glance over this in a heartbeat. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have some significance and it doesn't still draw eyes and draw attention because it is unique. It's all purple cover. How many purple covers have you seen? Purple album covers. I can't think. Just all purple, like purple and pink. And how many of those do you come across?
The next cover I have for this is What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Now, when you see this cover, it goes into a lot of the greens and greenish, bluish, blackish. It's a rainy day. As you can see, his jacket is wet and it looks like rain in the sky. And if you've heard any songs off of Marvin Gaye, I don't know why you haven't. Literally, the name of the song is What's Going On. It's a very strong, motivational type of music, but it's calm and it's still professional and it's still serene. So I feel the color schemes, once again, match the vibe and the energy of the album. A cold, rainy day, you pop this in, it's the type of music that you want to listen to. It gives you the environment of where you will want to listen to this music. If it's a cold, rainy day and I'm just sitting in my house with my pajamas on, drinking some tea with some Marvin Gaye, coasting in the back, I'm eating pineapples, looking out the window.
And another thing too is, y'all, listen to a lot of music. When you're in this business, bro, listen to as much music as you can, because music is your ultimate source. Music, movies, comic books, books in general, any book, bro, you have to really be a consumer, and not a consumer, but you have to be like a, I don't know, bro. I don't know the word. The word's not coming off the tongue right now. But you have to observe as many pieces of media that you can, bro. So it's important to watch shows. It's important to watch movies. It's important to watch music. I'm not watch music. Listen to music. It's important to do all of these things, because this is your source material. This is where you draw from. This is where you draw inspiration from. So it's important just to have a wide range of emotions, a wide range of perspectives, a wide range of depth, a wide range of anything, bro. You gotta have a wide range so you can instantly pull from something. Okay, I heard this in Marvin Gaye. I have this artist. He kind of resembles this Marvin Gaye album. Okay, let me go ahead, listen to that, then listen to his music, and then let me try and make something, right? Or if you have, oh, okay, let me pull, oh, okay, this emotion, okay, this is what he's going for, you know. And I always stress this, when you're working with artists, bro, make sure you know what they want. Make sure the artist knows what they want first off, and that's going to make the process so much easier. They have to tell you a story. They have to give you some type of resemblance, bro. Try and stay away from clients that don't specifically know what they want, right? If they have an idea and they just need help, then help them. But bro, if they're going back and forth with you, they don't know what they want, they're not trying to pay you extra bread for your time, bro, I wouldn't even stress out about it. Like, I would just send the money back. Because, bro, once you're in the business of this, and I'll probably make a video about that, but once you're in the business of this, man, it can really get tricky with, people trying to take advantage. And you have to have boundaries, right? You have to have stuff that you don't stand by, or, this is your business at the end of the day. So you make the rules. You set the playground. You know what I'm saying? And people don't want to comply, then they can just go somewhere else. That works, because now you're not wasting your time, and they're not wasting their time as well. You're not wasting your time, and they're not wasting their time, right? So it's always something to keep in mind.
Rainy days to decompress and calm down and become a little bit more serene. So definitely the blues and the greens for this album. It brings you into the environment and the tone of what this album brings to you. This album, Nevermind by Nirvana, is once again another classic album, and it's photography based. You can see a lot of themes through this. There's some sort of photography being manipulated.
See, another thing too is a lot of these are photography based, like she's saying. So that's why, if you're a cover artist, you got to be a photographer too. Don't you just love this job, man? Hey, bro, it's just the most fun job in the world. You get to do every art medium that you can think of, for the most part. But most of these are photography based, so yeah, dog, you're gonna have to be a photographer. I'll just tell you that right now. So be prepared to get a camera. I know I had to, man. I had to adjust, man. I bought a camera, and I've been making, photo books now, and I do all types of, hey, bro. Camera is gonna be your best investment, so get a camera. But don't rush to get a camera though, because cover art might not be something that you like.
You want to be able to see the artist or have something represent the artist in the best capacity. So for me, I really love this album cover, and I probably heard songs on this, but I don't know any songs off the top of my head. But I just know this album cover is very, very famous. But the album,
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
is mostly a blue type of album. As you can see, the color scheme of this is blue. And things I've known from Cobain, I've watched a few documentaries about him and stuff like that. He's definitely an interesting human being. It is a calm type of music. It's a serene type of music. It's music that you just smoke and just decompress and take away from. It's not the song that you use to go turn up at the club with. I like the Nirvana Nevermind album. That definitely a classic album. I think from what I'm seeing, it just looks like what we all chase, like when we're young, the dollar from a youth trying to get $5 out your uncle or your aunt or from your grandma to buy some candy, money.
That's a good, yeah, I would get that from that cover too. But I think what's interesting about it, yeah, the youth chasing money. But I think another element is that this baby jumped in the pool to get this dollar that's on a hook, you know? So I feel like that represents that people are willing to do almost anything to get a dollar, right? Money rules the world. Money runs the world. Money is the world. But money is not you. It doesn't have to be you. You are greater than money. Your life is greater than this right here. This gets printed every day, 24/7. They run out of $1, they print another one. You can't be reprinted. No way, shape, or form. You can't be reprinted, dog. They can try with, holograms coming up and AI and nah, dog. You can't be reprinted.
Is the motivation through it all. So even till you get to the day that you die, you just want more and more money, or money is always a factor. So I felt this album speaks to that, and it brings it professional too. It gives it a professional, clean vibe. Very minimal cover. The photo speaks 100 words. So let's get into complementary colors. Complementary colors are colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel that create like high contrast and vibrant looks. The first one I'm going to do that I feel like very vibrant and high contrasty is the Lil Yachty Little Boat album cover. I believe this was his debut album cover. And at this point, he was part of like a thing called the sailing team. So water and stuff is big on him. So it's just him in the middle of a boat. But I feel the colors speak so highly to it that they're, like I said, complementary. The greens and the reds, it gives it Christmas time. And his hair was red. So red was a strong part of his aesthetic then, right? And another one that goes green is he's floating on a sea of money. At this point, he's rich as hell. You know what I'm saying? So he has one of the biggest songs at this time. The sea is green, which is mad money going on. That's how I kind of visually represent all this stuff. And then the red is just a great complementary to the green, because they could have had this same photo and stretched it out all the way to the borders. But instead of doing that, they did a nice red border outline, red boat, red hair, red jumpsuit on a green background. So I feel like this is pretty cool. I think it gives a nice, vibrant, and very contrasty to bring your focus and attention to Little Boat and a little boat. I think this one speaks more to the branding of him more than it speaks to whatever song he had on there at that time. I really feel it was one or two songs. The next album cover I want to talk about is Jimi Hendrix Axis Bold as Love. Okay? So with this album cover, I did not hear any music off of this. I probably know a song or two if I listen to it, but more or less we want to talk about the vibrancy of the colors and how they are complementary. So all the colors here are in the same color spectrum, which is the pink with the orange and then the blues down below. Now, I think these are a bunch of different entities, and it's giving me trippy, kaleidoscopy vibes. So I feel you got to sit underneath the sun, smoke one, and just kind of just be floating. But it's giving a lot of energy. So this album doesn't feel like it's going to be a dark or sad album. You could put this in to get ready for a party, pregame. So I really love this album cover. and I like how they use the kaleidoscope. And you still see Jimi Hendrix's face. It's subtle, but it's not all the way there. And then you also see his two band members there surrounded.
Yeah. As far as complementary colors, yeah, but I think this overdoes it a little bit. Just a tad bit. It might be too bright, because now it kind of like conflicts with all the other colors in there, and this cover art is very hard to look at. I'm gonna keep it. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's hard to look at. Maybe somebody else doesn't think it's hard to look at, but just from a visual aspect, I do not like this. This is hurting my eyes. Very bad. Very bad. Too many brights. So it's important to have a contrast between light colors and dark colors. This doesn't really have that. It's just a whole bunch of light colors, right? The title is in a weird place, but that's not what we're talking about. We're more so talking about colors. It's unique in the fact that we have, this is giving me like Buddha vibes, Buddhism, with all these different hands, and I don't like the way this looks.
All the godly entities. We probably all have seen this album cover, the Outkast Stank On Your album. It's simple. It's black and white. It's black and white, but what pops is their skin tone. And I think that speaks a lot to what the album was, because this is Bombs Over Baghdad, Sorry Miss Jackson. It's very melodic album, so it still gives a contrast of what's going on. So even though they have a black and white American flag in the background, what stands out of this is their brown and black skin color. It just speaks to being black in America. That's kind of what I'm seeing with this cover. They got to see it from my point of view. They could have went with a, colored background and could have been wearing something else, but he's just wearing a simple white tee. Andre showing his skin, which shows his nice chocolate melanin, and then they have the black and white American flag in the background. I think it's just tough. Once again, they went with the photography route. Simple, easy, but it's about the creative direction and what you're trying to explain. So once again, it brings strong contrast, and it's not bold colors, but the contrast makes it even harder. It's them standing out from the black and white flag. There's no drop shadow in the back of them. It's just them standing there in front of this flag. So tough. We're gonna move on to the next cover. This word is really hard to say for me, guys, but I'm gonna try to give you guys the right terminology, so I'm not just making shit up. So this one is called Analogous Colors. That's all I got for y'all. So the first.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're gonna take a break. Come back. It's almost 11 o'clock. I gotta go to work in the morning. So yeah, I'll see y'all the next time we're reacting to this. What's new, YouTube? Cool Covers here, back with a brand new video. Well, technically it's not a brand new video, it's just a continuation of the last video we were watching. Hold up, let me make sure this is floating. It is. All right, it's just a continuation of the last video we were watching. We were watching Only Dope Media's Legendary Cover Art Class 1 Creator October, or Create-tober. You get what I'm saying? So we're going to continue where we left off. He was talking about primary, secondary, and now we're going into, I don't know how to say this, analogous colors. So hey, we're learning together. The reason why we're watching this video is just to learn together, y'all, and grow together. And yeah, man, I'm just want to put my little input on anything that she says. All right. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below, join the movement. And without further ado, let's continue watching.
It gets me is
we still got about 22
by,
minutes.
The Throne, Kanye West, Jay-Z. Now this cover is just a gold cover. Now I believe Ricardo Tashishi made this cover for them. I'm pretty sure it was some sort of plate or something like that they literally did it in gold or did it in some sort of metal and got it engraved. The colors more or less kind of stand out to you. So it's like they couldn't put their face on it because the two big artists, that's kind of whack. So how else can we go about doing this? And this is gold and have like a gold piece of artwork. It's the throne. Gold comes to mind when you think of throne or royalty, right? And with this, I'm pretty sure Jay-Z's a forward-thinking guy. I'm pretty sure even the the plate to make this, you could sell that and auction that off, or that plate can be put into an African American museum or some sort of musical museum, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something like that, because of how iconic this album was when it dropped. Very simple. It is very seamless around. It matches up symmetrically each part, so you can cut it down the middle, and then they could have dropped this in 4 parts, and each corner could have been another album cover. You got to think as deep as that. So that's another way that you can go about an album cover, thinking outside of the box. Another cover that uses analogous colors, which are clips till the casket drops. Now this cover uses a bunch of different shades of red. They use like a cartoony vector type of vibe for this one. I think partly because they were with Cause and Nigo and Pharrell in them. So this album cover is by Cause. As you can see, the small little Cause in the corner right there. And it's just the album cover inside the casket with the Clips logo on there very subtly. And then subtly put the 2 X's from Cause on there. But this all in the red color scheme. It's just different shades of red. The colors that are next to each other in the color wheel. So if the color wheel showed a bunch, the other ones that could have been used are reds and oranges. If the whole cover was red and orange, you could have...
One thing that helps me with color selection, y'all, is I always go... Oh, man, I don't think I can even show y'all. Let me see. Well, I don't think I can show y'all because I cropped my screen. Canva has a color wheel option, y'all. So go to Canva color wheel. Literally just type that in right as it is, right as I said it on Google. Canva color wheel. That's going to help you with your color selection. That's going to help you determine, okay, what colors mesh together. What color should I use for this graphic? I use that personally. And it's the Canva color wheel, y'all. So just type it in straight like that off Google, and that's going to help you. Trust me.
With that too, but they just use different shades of red, light red, dark red. You know?
Create attention-grabbing videos with millions of creative assets on Motion Array. Join the biggest global...
You know, so I feel like this cover is the best example of analogous colors. Woo, man. Trying to say that word 20 times, analogous. And I probably fucked it up. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's move to composition. Now with composition, it's the arrangement of different elements in the design that should be balanced and then guide your viewers to a certain focus. Now, I want to go over a few album covers that have really, really good composition. And some of the key concepts include rule of thirds. Now, with the rule of thirds, it's dividing your design into thirds to create focal points. Let's go over a few covers that have great rule of thirds to display great composition and cover arts. This Bad Bunny album cover that has the whole alphabet in it, what is it? YHLQMDLG. I'm glad they did not put any text on the cover because what the hell? It probably stands for something. Have no idea what it means, but nonetheless, it had great rule of thirds. My automatic attention, it has so much going on, but like how it's split up makes me focus on this person riding this bike with this third eye in the middle. So obviously he's awoke. He knows what's going on. He's peeping game. But they're trying to get away from something. That's what it looks like. Because you have the city in the background, burning cars, flying cars. And it looks like the power line has been hit with some sort of electrical surge. It really is giving Stranger Things when I see this. So based on this, I'm guessing the music for this album is kind of electric. It has blue, calm, serenity, color palette. For the most part, rule of thirds. I like how it's split up. On the left side, you have the burning car and the electric line. In the middle, directly in the middle, you have the person riding the bike. And on the right side, you have the car floating, as well as some more of the scenic background of what's going on. And then even the clouds open up around his head, so it's not too much going on. The focus is the person's facial expression. The next album I want to talk about is Jay-Z's The Blueprint. Now with this album cover, it exudes definitely a good rule of thirds composition, but it's more or less in the middle. So on the left side, you have a lot of your text, and then you have Jay-Z sitting on a desk. Now he could have been sitting dead in the middle of the desk, and he could have just been looking at you smoking, but they used the composition of up top, somebody looking down on this man smoking a cigar, having a good time. It looks real boss. Even on what he has on the table, just is more cigars, a cigar cutter, and an ashtray. The table is empty, completely clear, to bring your focus to Jay-Z on his left side. And then on the right side, you even could have had it blank. They could have just had no shoes there or anything like that. But part of having a good photo or anything like that is this rule of thirds concept that I want to get through to you guys, okay? So on the right side here, we have the shoes, and they're obviously all looking at Jay-Z smoking the cigar. So he could have been in a meeting or anything like that. So I just think this is tough. We got this album cover by The Time called, self-titled, The Time. I read something about Morris.
Yo, the reason why I'm not even saying nothing, y'all, is because I'm actually learning. Like, this is crazy. A lot of this I never even peeped. I never even knew cover art had the rule of thirds. I thought that was only in photography and videography. More so in videography, because they say the rule of thirds, you want to have the person on the top left corner, because that's where the viewer's eye travels the most, and is the two corners. So we have two lines going down like this, two horizontal lines after that. Then that top corner would be where people's eyes gravitate towards the most. So if we're looking at something like this, like boom, 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 your eye would probably go here first, or here in these like corner areas. But yeah, I'm learning, y'all. I'm like, dang, I didn't even look at that Jay-Z cover like that. You know what I'm saying?
That might be the lead artist in here, but I don't know. I've literally never listened to this album. But the album cover really attracted me when I was looking for people that have really good rule of thirds composition. And rule of thirds works with if you're doing photo manipulation or photography. Rule of thirds is a basic graphic design, functional, fundamental that you guys need to know. So this album is definitely symmetrically balanced. The left balances with the middle, that balances with the right. It has a strong triangle hierarchy, and that brings your attention to Morris, I guess this is his name, in the middle, and his supporting cast on the second row, and probably the other head henchman up at the top, looking over everything in front of a building. They could have done it from a low angle, a top angle, a side angle, but they just went straight on to just grab a great image. They went black and white with this one, with just the album cover name in red to bring your attention to a spot to the left. Another key concept is balance. With balance, you have to distribute the visual weight evenly. It could be either symmetrically or asymmetrically. With the SZA SOS album, it draws your eye to the middle, which is rule of thirds, but it's a balanced album. It's symmetrically her in the middle of the ocean. I don't know where she got this humongous diving board, but she probably was sitting at a pool or something like that, had some photography done, and then they could just superimpose an ocean background on the back of it. But it's the placement of where she is. So it just makes her feel all alone. It's calm, it's serene. This is probably where she's going to get her inner thoughts, like going to sit by some water and relax. So colors, blue, plus the balance, which is a symmetrical album, work hand in hand. So definitely a great album. The next one's gonna be Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. It's a photo-based album, and I believe he's in here somewhere. I don't think he's like a place where you can see him. He's really low-key, but he's even giving people their time to shine. The people that surround him, that prop him up, and giving the hood a little bit of shine. This album cover was seen by hundreds of millions of people. So being able to give people opportunities to, represent, whether it be a child.
Great album right here, y'all. I was thinking about recreating this. I don't know if I can. Because I don't even know where I would start to recreate this album. It's too iconic. It's too classic. And I think part of recreation is just putting your little spin on it and twist. I don't know how I would get all these guys in this album, right? I just don't know how.
Mother or anything like that is really...
But maybe instead of that, we can play off of To Pimp a Butterfly. We can play off of that butterfly concept. And try to create something off of that. Maybe I'll do that instead.
Now they're sitting in front of the White House, sitting on what looks to be a incapacitated judge of some sort. They're taking over, and they're throwing up their hoods. They got money, change, no t-shirts. It's fire, man. But it has great balance. The white is strong up top, and it's a strong gradient to a nice dark bottom. The whole album cover is fire, and it still uses the strong rule of thirds within the image itself. So rule of thirds, and it has balance. If you split it into 3 sections, you can use each section, and you can use it either way, from the top to the middle to the bottom, or from the side to the middle to the bottom, or to the side to the middle to the side. It has great balance. All right, so another album I want to talk about that has a great balance is Aretha Franklin's Young, Gifted, and Black. And now with this cover, right, it's different than a lot of the other album covers, but it does speak to that Jimi Hendrix trippy type of vibe, and it could be symmetrical or asymmetrical. So this is a direct symmetrical cover. So even if it didn't have the words on here, you could split that cover right down the middle, and it's the same on both sides. It's the same image flipped from the left side to the right side, cut down the middle. It's a kaleidoscopy effect, but it has great balance in the middle of the actual image. And it has good balance on the left side with nice black space, and the right side that really has
like
nice,
this.
strong black space. And then from the top, if you split it in the middle, it could hold its own weight with that mosaic glass panel or stained glass effect.
Building a business
I
like
like
no
that
other
cover.
takes a
So I'm
card
not
like
gonna
no
lie.
other.
That's pleasing to look at. And I think
With
that's the most important thing, man. You want to have something that's pleasing to look at, man. You want to have something that is easily to remember. Like, I'll probably remember this cover art just by looking at it. You want things that stand out, and you want things that tell a story. Sometimes you can go off the wall, like, you know, if y'all pay attention to that Young Thug cover for the new album YS Scuddy, or YU Scuddy. Different approach, you know, or y'all can go to the one where you wear a dress. You know, those covers are specifically to grab attention, to attract the audience, to bring people, to bring listeners to the album. So in a sense, yes, it works, but then it gets a little misconstrued because it doesn't really have like a meaning behind it. I know the Young Thug with the dress, he tried to say like, you know, don't quote me on this specifically, but like, somebody was coming out or something in his family, and he wanted them to feel more secure in their decision. Which, hey, I mean, is it true? Is it not true? Who knows? But yeah, I would just say that, and just trying to, you kind of want to still have a message. That's the whole purpose. Like that UI Scuddy album cover, and I wish I could pull it up. Maybe I can. Let's see. Like when you have this cover art, it doesn't really, yes, it passes the norm of standing out, right? But it doesn't really, this doesn't speak to the level of music. Now it could, I don't see the resemblance. You know what I'm saying? I don't see the resemblance. But another artist, even if we look at somebody like Gunna, who just dropped, I don't actually see the resemblance in his cover art neither. Like, I don't know what this is supposed to be. I guess that's supposed to be him. But I don't know how this ties into the, you know, the music, so to speak. So, it's hit or miss. Usually I like to intertwine the two. The visual reference matches the music that is played. But, I mean, you can always just have pieces that stand out. This piece stands out. Not saying that this isn't good. This is great. This is creative. In fact, I actually looked up the artist. Oh, his name is right here. Devin Desjardins. Devin Desjardins. I hope I said that right. Let's see. Yeah, this guy. I was trying to see if we could find some more of his work, but it's looking like we'll have to go a little farther. But yeah, this dude came up off of that, and I don't know if he paints these or like, this is just creative. Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't bashing the creativity. I just don't know how the cover art And maybe it said it in this you know, whatever you want to call it, this article right here. Maybe it talks about it. We're not going to read this article now because that's not what this video is about. This video is about learning. So I don't know, just keep that in mind when you're creating stuff. Sometimes you can go off the wall and, you know, have this standout piece that doesn't make any sense at all. And other times you kind of want to make it tie back into the music and tie back into the emotions and tie back into the artist overall. Because like she said, if you guys were paying attention, like, this is branding. You know, an artist might want to use merch. An artist could use and I've done merch designs and stuff before, from, you know, singles that artists have dropped. We've turned it into merch. So always think bigger picture, right? Always think bigger picture.
Name and title up top, and if you split in the middle, on the bottom half, it would have her face the 4 different times. So that's what makes a great album cover too, when you look at it from any type of angle. Another key concept I want to talk about is hierarchy. A hierarchy means that you're organizing the elements that's the most important, so that information stands out. A lot of the album covers that we already seen had great hierarchy. You probably heard me say it about the triangles and things like that, and balance throughout. That's all that means. But to speak to the more about the most important information standing out, I want to talk about the Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die album. I think this album is great minimally. It has great balance. It has great rule of thirds. As you can see, 1, 2, 3 levels. The name at the top, somebody who represents it in the middle. And I think this kind of speaks to Bad Boy. I don't think it really speaks to Little Christopher. You know, it looks like it, but Biggie never even had an afro. So this looks more or less like the Bad Boy logo in the middle. And then you got Ready to Die at the bottom. And then they emphasize the big with the red letters, and they emphasize the die in the red letters. So I'm a real strong person of speaking things to existence and the power of the tongue. So this album does, you know, speak a lot to, you know, Biggie dying. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too deep in the dark into this, but the emphasis on the words that's most important, and that emphasis was Biggie and death will die at this point, because they could have put the Ready in red, but on the right side of the cover, if you split it up, it's Biggie die. Not gonna get too deep into this, but just think about these type of things when you're putting stuff into the universe. For our last essential cover art topic, we got to talk about typography. We're gonna get this in depth a little deeper as we start working on the cover arts and things like that, but I do want to keep this in mind for you guys, because when I see a cover art, fonts are my biggest pet peeve, because just some people just have stuff.
This is fonts, man. Fonts are very hard, bro. Something I'm still learning to this day, man. And fonts are very important, y'all. As he's talking about fonts, bro, fonts is so important, dog. Like, bro, you can have the fire cover, but the font is just terrible. And it's hard to find good fonts, especially if you don't have Envato Elements. I don't have Envato Elements, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I tried to get into this group where, you know, we always going to chip in, and they added me to the group chat and whatnot, and I don't know what happened. I just never got the password and stuff, so yeah, so there goes my 15, right? But it's all good. It ain't no diss. But yeah, bro, typography is, if you can master typography, bro, and just have the other stuff come later, that's kind of what I wish I had. I wish I kind of was good at typography first and then had the other stuff come later. I would focus specifically on typography if I'm up and coming, if I'm just starting out. Focus on typography, because, bro, it's like a huge, I'm sure she's going to give some examples of good typography and some examples of bad typography, but, bro, it's a game changer, dude. Something can just look 20 times better just by using the right font. You know, you could have a not so skilled album cover, but you use the right fonts and you place them in the right positions, it can make something look way better than what it actually is.
It's fonts. Fonts can mess up a t-shirt design. Fonts can mess up a poster. Fonts can mess up an album cover. Bad fonts are just icky. So you always want to study your font game, and that will take you further than anything. Because if you have good fonts, you'll be all right. I even
just
seen
told
music
you.
videos with bad fonts. It's like, why did you use that font? Throws off everything. The choice of fonts can significantly impact your design. So let's consider the following. Some of the stronger fonts for me, I use sans serif a lot, but if you want to do a great representation of serif fonts would be like Jay-Z's 444 album cover. Just the 444 and that Jay-Z type of font. I don't even think it says his name on it either. It just says his 13th studio album. It just is a strong, traditional, serif fonts usually present a traditional and elegant type of vibe that you're going for, and they're suitable for classic and sophisticated music. And for Jay-Z to have a strong serif font in that 444 font, where it just strictly says real elegant, real sophisticated.
Yeah, so when we're looking at like serif fonts, right? We're looking at fonts. When she says serif, just basically these little ends, right? And then when we talk about sans serif, this is just, oh, actually, I think this is serif up here too. So not these, because they have these little ends on them that make them look a little fancier. We're just talking about regular fonts, like if we look at this, like what makes an album cover, this is pretty much sans serif. Just without the lines. Just think of that. And, oh, I didn't know she had promos down here. Okay.
His 13th studio album. Like, he didn't even have to say his name. You know who that is. Google it, right? So I feel like that album speaks to his growth, because at this point he's talking about his family and stuff like that. So sophisticated music. Now, if we're talking about serif fonts, once again, I have to mention my favorite, which is sans serif fonts. Sans serif fonts are modern and clean, and they're ideal for contemporary genre. I feel a strong album cover that speaks to this is this Johnny Cash American 5 album is a great representation of sans serif fonts, because it just says Cash. And whenever you see that name, Cash, you just know it's Johnny Cash, especially because he has a specific font that he uses on all his album covers. So he pretty much took this font and it's his font. If he wanted to make a Cash font, this would probably be it. If he wanted to make a whole alphabet. And I just feel like it's a strong representation of just him as an album. He could probably just put his face on it, or put no face on it. He could put a cat in the middle of the road that's been ran over, and it could just say Cash. And that can make you want to click on the album just as strong. But this one is just chill. It's just another one of his installments, Cash. Now, I've seen this album cover called Taku Love Again, and I just think, once again, a strong representation of sans serif fonts. Is a contemporary type of album, chill. Haven't really heard too much music on it. I just clicked on one song and it was real melodic and things like that. They feature people like Jameson and Sango, so I figured he was a singy, chill, vibey type of artist. But I just like the way he put his name in this box, but it's surrounded by a bunch of flowers. So the flowers take up a lot of the energy, but it has good balance, because it brings your eye to that middle part, which is Taku. So now, if you don't know anything about this album, you could just say, oh, the album with the flowers that say Taku. You don't even know it says Love Again or anything like that. It don't even say Love Again on this, but like normally flowers represent love or some sort of love or affection of some sort. So Taku, just having the album which it says EPs, and it says Taku Songs to Make Up To. So what is that when you even look at it? Oh, Songs to Make Up To, got flowers on it. His name Taku, seems simple and chill. Let me at least click on it to give it a listen. So go check that out. I'm pretty sure he got Jameson on there, so it got to be fire in some way, shape, or form. For the next set of fonts, we got to talk about script fonts. Now, with script fonts are playful and artistic, okay? And they're great for personal and indie styles. And you already know the first cover we got to bring up is Drake's. If you're reading this too late, it's a strong representation of a script type font. It looks like a 5-year-old wrote this, learning their alphabet. It even was able to be memeable. And a lot of Drake's more recent album covers have been memeable, even from the CLB with all the emojis on it. They even made a font for this that you can download on the font. And then people were making their own. If you're reading this, buy me lunch. If you're reading this, will you go out with me? If you're reading this, I know my sneakers is fly. Or if you're reading this, stop staring. Or you know what I'm saying? It was just so many memes that flipped into not only the name of the album, but just the cover and its simplicity. And it has great balance, even how they split it up to take over the whole thing. Because they could have had each word have its own line, but it's right there, dead center, white, It's black, it's contrasty. It has all the elements, you know, for a great cover. If you heard any of these album covers, you don't know what to expect when you look at a cover like this. Oh, damn, he didn't even spend too much time on the cover art. Like, what's the songs looking like? And it was a scrappy mixtapey type of album. It wasn't even an actual album. It was more or less a mixtape when we had those back then. Another strong album that uses great scripting was Daft Punk's Discovery, man. And I just love it because it uses a fire script font.
That's nice.
But they jazzed it up a little bit. They got chrome, and their thing is like real electronic and psychedelic type of thing. They even had that rainbow in there really, really subtly. I just love
That's
the
nice.
font on this. They could just take that font and put it on a t-shirt. It's that eye-catching that even if I don't listen to Daft Punk, I'll give this album a listen just because the cover is so hard. That font is just so tough. The chrome, how the colors in the chrome are not just taking away from anything. It complements everything. And it's balanced, central focused album. It's only focused on the most important information, which is the name of the band. And I think even because the album name is Discovery, that's going through all of the spectrums of the rainbow, discovering yourself, who you are. Everything's not so black and white, but it's a black cover with a little bit of coloring, subtle touches in the actual scripted font. So,
Bye, Mommy. Bye, sweetheart. 99% of the time when a child goes...
So, tough font, man. And if we want to do even one more, man, the I Hate Being Bipolar by Yeezy, people thought he was nuts. He was going crazy, legit, bro. And literally, he probably just took this picture on the iPhone while they shot this in Wyoming, in Jackson, Wyoming at this time. So he probably just took a picture of Wyoming and literally...
Another thing too, y'all, like, y'all seen a lot of like simplistic covers, right, from artists. Usually the bigger you get, the simpler you can do on the cover art, because your name is already established, right? So cover art is really for people that are trying to get their name out there. Because look, as you can see, look at this. I mean, that's not to say that artists don't go above and beyond. I think we had a Bad Bunny album cover that looked pretty sophisticated. But most of these are like, once you get to a certain level, you don't gotta really invest too much into cover art, which is the sad part about this, because, you know, you have artists like myself and other people that would love to make, you know, pieces, but, you know, it's not necessary. So you'll have stuff like this where it's not bad, but it's not great. It could be better. Yeah, I just, you know, so that's always a possibility, y'all. But then you'll have people like Gunna, which I respect. He goes out and he gets artists to create his album covers, which is, I think that is a great idea. I think every artist should do that, because there's a lot of talented people in this world. I would have never known who this guy was. You know what I'm saying? I would have never known, unless I came across his page on Instagram, but I would have never known who Devon Desjardins, hopefully I said that right. And it actually makes me more intrigued to see, okay, like what kind of, these are very intricate paintings. I'm sure they have some sort of meaning. I'm sure they have some sort of resemblance to who he is as a person. So I don't know. I think a lot of artists go under the radar nowadays, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's kind of why artists kind of like to be low-key anyway. But sometimes, you know, their work has to be displayed on higher levels. And I think that's great, you know.
Wrote this on an iPad with a pencil and was like, yo, I hate being bipolar. It's awesome. Which is a contradictory, but they use the greens on top of the blues, which is a complementary color, but it's still in the same color family. And it's just a singular focused, balanced image with the mountains in the middle, sky at the top, ground. So rule of thirds, but it brings your focus and your attention to a bright green scripted font, which is the I Hate Bipolar. Is awesome. My last set of fonts, there's a multitude of different fonts out there, bruh. But the font I want to talk about right now are display fonts. Display fonts are unique and decorative. You usually use a display font when you want to grab attention or something like that. You want to make a loud statement. If we got to talk albums, we got to talk about the classics. Yes, sir. We got to talk about Backstreet Boys' Millennium album. I played this album mug when I was in the youth, man. That and NSYNC. This album was on repeat. Who wasn't listening to the Backstreet Boys? Also, they got a weird
Don't even know what that
documentary
is.
on Netflix about their come up and NSYNC. Y'all should go watch that. I'm a real aficionado about the history of music or anything that has to do with pop culture. I watch documentaries on it. I feel that will help you with the history of things. So if you know what had happened in the past, history repeats itself all the time. So it can help you avoid some of the same pitfalls and help you notice certain patterns, whether that's trends in the market and things like that. But that's besides the point. We're talking about display fonts. And this font for Millennium is a tough one. It's a strong, unique cover, strong, unique font choice. And during that time, too, we used a lot of blues and grays and
I do
whites
like this
for that
cover.
Y2K type of feel. So the Millennium draws all your attention to just that album. It doesn't draw your attention too much to each individual artist or anything like that. It's just the Backstreet Boys are there and then Millennium. And at that point, if you've seen them, a picture of them, you know that's the Backstreet Boys. So them not even putting the Backstreet Boys on here, I'm not even mad at that. But just having that dope, unique font where you probably couldn't have found that font anywhere else is not something that everybody had. They probably had a very unique logo treatment made up, and then they just added a nice whiteness to it and a nice outer glow. Nothing too crazy, but the font is custom in itself. I want to show you guys is Akon's Convicted album. Once again, this has great balance, symmetrical balance. So it has Akon on the left and the name of the album, and on the right is him sitting in front of this, yes, in front of the bench, and it looks like he's in some sort of courthouse. And with the album being named Convicted, I think it speaks to whatever he was going through at that time, legal troubles, what have you. And at this time, I think the songs that he had was Locked Up. So having the album named Convicted, you know, plays on what you're doing and
See,
more.
That's what I was getting at earlier, y'all. You kind of want the cover art to portray in the music. You want to have some resemblance, you know what I'm saying? At least something. That's my opinion. That's what I was getting on earlier. This actually looks like a pretty cool album. I do like the typography, like she was saying. So I might check that out myself.
Let's put him in a courthouse. I know that's what they were saying in the room. And somebody's like, genius. You know what I'm saying? So great for the branding, but it's not cool for speaking it into existence. Probably I would have done something that was breaking away. He's walking out of a courtroom or something like that.
That's a good point. I never even thought of it like that. Speaking things into existence. That's true. There is power in the tongue, like she said. I never even thought of, like, when we had that Biggie example, when she said big equals ready to die and all that. That's a good point. And then you got maybe Tupac Thug Life, you know. That's a good point. It's not really, it's tricky because when you're the visual person, when you're the designer, you're just going off of what people tell you they want, right? So this is already the artist's vision. This is their vision, right? And we're just bringing it to life. So, I mean, it's kind of hard. You can throw out a suggestion, but some artists will tell you, like, nah, this is what they want. Some artists are just concrete on what they want and what they stand on, right? So it's a tricky balance. But, you know, if that's what they want, then that's what they want. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe you could throw a suggestion in there. Hey, man, let's not use this. Let's not say this. Let's not, you know, speak things into existence. But most likely, I don't think they're going to listen to you, because once the artist already has the vision, the idea of where they want the tape to go, the direction, then you're basically just there to put it together. And that's not to say that you don't have any you know, any, what do you call it? That's not to say that you don't have any, you know, feedback, or you can't say anything to correct them, because technically you're the one with more knowledge in the realm of art, right? So you can always, you know, throw suggestions out there and throw ideas. But at the end of the day, this is the classic saying, y'all. The customer is always right at the end of the day. The customer is always right. And I learned that in SpongeBob, dog.
Was convicted, obviously you're going to jail. you're going to jail. The convicted font looks like
You're
it's
going to
a
jail.
key of some sort. So it's the key to set him free. So the music is the key to set him free. Even though the name of the album is Convicted with a K, that old English type of font that's been made into being the middle of the key, on the left side being an N, and then the front end being where you poke the key, and the key is kind of poking at his head. So in my head, I look at so many layers to it. I'd be like, oh, the key is unlocking his brain, and the brain, your mind, will set you free even though you're convicted. So while I'm listening to this music, it has those warm tones. It got a lot of oranges and yellows. So even the song I'm Locked Up is R&B-ish type of song, and he's a singer at this point. He's not a rapper or anything like that. We're gonna go this in depth in later sections as we actually get to creating the cover art, what fonts pair best with what fonts, not having too many fonts and stuff like that. But that's all for today.
Alrighty, y'all. I appreciate you guys watching this with me. Let me know in the comments down below if I should keep doing this, if you guys found this entertaining. Not entertaining, but educational, as I would like to say. Right now, I'm currently in a art block. I'm currently in an art block, and one thing you'll learn about design and being a designer and doing art in general is that you'll have moments where you're blocked, and it sucks because when you create art, it's something that you love doing, it's something that you like doing, and it's literally like a blockage, like you can't get over this hurdle. So I've been in a block for the past couple of months, and I'm just starting to get back into creating again. And I think YouTube is a great way to, take my mind off of client work. Client work can be very draining, y'all. I'm gonna just let y'all know that from the jump. If y'all want me to make a video discussing like how to get out of an art block, let me know in the comments down below. If y'all want a video just on my tips to becoming good at graphic design, I could do that as well. But right now, yeah, art block, yeah, man, art block is pretty bad, but it's okay. We'll probably watch. I know she already posted like 2-3 of these already, so she's been banging these out, and I'm all the way behind. So I'm gonna try and get this out to y'all as soon as possible. Like I said, I'm just reacting. We're just reacting, and we're just putting our input on things and commenting on things as we see it. But also at the same time, I'm learning. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below. Join the movement. Oh, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. Ooh. Bless you.